Hey folks, been a while, eh? Last time I was here, I did a gear review of the Sanyun active bookshelf speakers, something I'd never done before. I bought it on impulse off Amazon, and I bought something else on impulse off Amazon, and that's this little dude here. This is a Behringer B906 mic. It's supposed to be the clone of the Sennheiser one, and you've seen them, you know, dangling off the front of guitar amps. But beside this is this bad boy, which if you know your microphones, you'll know. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Lots of noise in this. This is a Shure SM7B, which is one of the holy grail dynamic microphones for people doing voiceover or vocals in home studios or pro studios. Whether it's for ads or for music, the SM7B is omnipresent in your favorite YouTubers' videos. When they want to show you the microphone they're using, they make sure it's usually one of these guys. Here in Canada, on Amazon, you can find them used for like $550. An average music store will have them around $600. On the left here, this Behringer E906 was $54 after tax. And that I'm calling this the David and Goliath shootout for that very reason. This is the one that everybody thinks they want, and this one might be the one that everybody realizes they might really just want instead. I'm on a musician's budget, and the pandemic has not been kind to musicians. We haven't gigged. We haven't done anything. If you're lucky enough to be one of the musicians like myself who teaches as well, you have had a bit of a parachute that way. So I was looking for something inexpensive to mic my guitar cab with. Since gigs are picking up, some of the venues that we've been pursuing or will be playing at are requesting, that when you bring your own amps and stuff, they want everything mic'd so that they can feed the audio to outdoor speakers, as well as speakers throughout the bar or the pub or the venue, which I think is pretty awesome, instead of just relying on the PA for vocals, which is kind of stupid if you ask me. Why bring out a PA and just put a microphone through it? Just leave it at home. So anyways, what I wanted to do was I saw a fellow on YouTube talking about the Behringer microphone that's right in front of me. And, it sounded pretty good. And I thought, well, why don't I just get it and see how it works out? And the early returns, I'm really impressed. So what I've done is I've aligned these microphones. I don't know if you can see here. I mean, the camera angle is kind of skewed because I have kind of a crappy webcam. The capsule of the SM7B is set back. This whole big phallus here, underneath it is a metal cage, and on top of it is this foam windscreen, as they call it, or pop filter. The Behringer mic has no such thing, which is why, to be fair, I put up my pop screen, and you can hear that noise, and there's a reason for this. And I'm going to get into that. What you're hearing right now is actually 50-50, both mics. Both mics on my Steinberg UR44 have their gains maxed. Now, there's no cloud lifter. There's no extra boosting done to the SM7B. Because you'll know, everybody says, oh, if you get an SM7B, you get gain hungry, you're going to need a outboard preamp. And I did do a review of this microphone using, let me grab it, this little, nope, hold it in front of the pop screen, just bad boy, an ART Tube MP, which is great. It's a mono tube preamp. It was awesome. I really, really liked it. But I found that if I just use the basic cable, I've got like a 3-foot cable going from the mic to the interface, max out the gain, it's fine. It's not ideal, but for the purposes of this test, it's fine. So what I want to do is just give you a little run through of the differences between these two mics in my first impressions. I've only had this mic plugged in for like maybe half an hour now. I just got it. We were away for the weekend. I got back. This was one of the top things on my list to get into, was digging into this mic. So it's normally, the 906 is an instrument mic. It's meant to be hung in front of or placed in front of a guitar amplifier. You could use a bass amp. You could do it on percussion, something like that. It's not a voiceover mic. Nowhere in the description of this microphone do they say, great for voiceovers. But the SM7B is known as one of the go-tos for voiceover. So I just got to move this back So anyways, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go just with the SM7B right now. And because it's a little bit gain hungry, I have to get a little bit closer, which brings in the proximity effect. Proximity effect is the tendency for a microphone to enhance the bass response of the source, i.e. my voice, because I'm closer to it. And, when you listen to those late night FM DJs and you hear them getting very breathy, right? Or the NPR, those kind of things. Those guys love getting up close and personal with the microphone. But this is the nature of a microphone like this that needs a lot of gain. It's almost like it's very pressurized in a way. And you can hear that when I said pressurized, peanut butter. This pop screen on the SM7B is not infallible, but I'm not putting a pop screen in front of it for that reason. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the SM7B off and the 906 up and slide this pop filter back. Immediately, you're going to hear a bunch of different things happen. This is a metal pop filter. Its resonance, it resonates with my voice, which I find irritating. But because I don't sing a whole lot, I don't need anything else other than it. But you heard this. This is me touching the pop filter. You can hear that. Here's me touching the cable. Yes, the cable's looping down and over around the other mic stand. I didn't have a lot of room to set this up. But another thing I should mention is that both of these microphones have filters on them, which can enhance or reduce certain frequencies in your range of what you're recording. Both of these are set to flat right now. So for all the purists that are still shaking their heads at the fact that I've got these two microphones in the same studio at the same time, you can rest assured that they're as flat as can be. There's no compression, there's no EQ, no reverb or anything going on with any of these. So nice up close and personal, even with the pop filter, you can hear the peanut butter. It's still a little bit poppy. Now I'm going to get right on axis with it, and I'll talk about the late night FM DJs. Now, if I just point my voice slightly down, it's going to be diffused by the pop filter, but I'm also not going to be putting that plosive right at the diaphragm of the microphone. So that helps, right? If you're using it as an instrument microphone, instruments don't have plosives. They don't speak P's and B's and stuff like that. So now I'm going to turn the 906 down, and I'm going to turn the SM7B right up. And you can hear it. There is no doubt for voice, this is the superior microphone, the SM7B. The sibilance, the integrity of the chest tones of the voice are obvious, right? It's not really a fair comparison. And that's why I'm calling this the David and Goliath of voiceover microphones. But if you're wanting to start out to do voiceover stuff, you don't need to feel obligated to go out and drop, several hundreds of dollars on gear. I mean, if you can get an audio interface, which you will need, you can look on your local marketplace, your Craigslist, eBay, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, and you'll find one, used ones for $50. You don't need any more than a one-channel interface for voiceover, really. Or you don't need the fancy preamps. You don't need the, vintage Neumann microphones. It's anybody who can tell you that they can hear the difference between, a microphone with a high-quality preamp or just your basic interface is lying to you. They want you to think they hear something that's not there. My 2 cents. So anyways, I'm going to bring up the 906 here. And the one thing that you hear with that is it's really punchy in the mid-range. So SM7B's off. I'm right on the 906 now. No pop filter. Now I'm going to speak off axis to it. So none of the P's and B's are really going to be, an issue. But the articulation in this microphone is really good. I can hear the chestier tones. I can hear, unfortunately, room noise. I've got my skylight open here, and there's some cars going by that I can hear. But if you can get the gain of this microphone up, I'm on max on my UR44. If you can get the gain up to a place where you can be safe from or isolated enough from other sounds in your house, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is with the gain that high, this mic is super sensitive. So you can hear that. That's not good. I'm sitting really close to the stand. The stand is coming up from between my feet. And if I just touch it with my feet, you hear that too. That's not good. There's no spider that comes with this. Spider is one of these kind of things. This is from an AKG mic that I have. No shock mount with it. You could probably fashion one or find one that will fit it. A lot of people complain about the mic clip that the 906 comes with. It's okay. I mean, most people are just going to loop a mic cable around the handle of their guitar amp and dangle it in front of the speaker. So the mic clip is irrelevant at that point. But I have no issues with it. I mean, it's sitting securely. There's nothing out of place with it. It's not, I hung it upside down. It didn't do anything. So now I'm going to switch off the 906. And then go back to the SM7B so you can hear the difference. Now, this video is going to run a little longer than I was hoping. I was hoping for 10 minutes. But the main thing I wanted to convey with this is, yes, you can get quite audibly superior results with a quite apparently superior microphone. It's the nature of more expensive gear. But with this one, there's a $650 difference between these microphones. I was really, really lucky to get this SM7B on a total steal. I won't go into the story, but it was on Marketplace, and it was kind of a funny story. I asked why it was so inexpensive. It was like $300, new in box. And so there was a long story between the guy that sold it to me, or the lady that sold it to me, sorry, and her ex-boyfriend. So I got a good deal. But now if I bring back my new favorite $50 microphone and combine this in, and now I'm going to take out the SM7B, you notice a little bit of the chestiness disappears. And I just popped the microphone, I'm sorry. But if I put my pop filter back up, I can get back in here. Now, the filters that are on this microphone are either to cut or enhance the treble. They don't have like a bass roll off. Where it's set right now in the middle position here is flat. And if you don't believe me, I don't know. No, you can't see that because I moved the thing. The filters on the SM7B are flat as well. I tried to make this as real world of an experiment as possible. Judge for yourself. I mean, what's your budget? What's your target? What's your idea for application for the microphone? I mean, if I'm going to be using this on my guitar amp, I am definitely going to find a way to suspend it from something. I'm not above hanging a microphone off the handle of my guitar amp, but knowing the way that this at high gain picks up interference, that's the only downside of the microphone. I find it quite crisp, quite intelligible, and if I go back to the SM7B, you can hear less room noise. I mean, I think they're both super cardioid. The Behringer is for sure. I don't recall what the Shure one says it is, but I'm not about to take the SM7B out to a gig to mic up my amplifier. I'm just not. So, yeah. So, and again, away goes the SM7B. In comes the Behringer. The main difference that I hear is high mids enhancement of this microphone. Obviously, lots of handling noise is possibly going to get into your sound. So just be really careful with it if you do. Because, I mean, if I turn down the gain, right, gain is at 12 o'clock here. And it's not really doing a whole lot. But if I crank up the gain even more, here we are back to max, and I'm way too close to the microphone. But then again, you introduce you hear that? That's not good. I don't like that. It's not. But unless I mount it in something, that's what you're going to get, right? But, with the SM7B, here we are back with the SM7B full gain. Touching the mic, touching its cable, running my hand up and down the stand, and I'm at full gain, right? If I get really close here, you can hear that, right? Now if I go back to full gain on the 906, and I just move my feet, I mean, I'm like, oh, that's shocking. But then again, it's in a hard clip to the microphone, to the stand. The SM7B does have a 2-point mount here that's attached at 1 point, so there is some, I guess, vibrational diffusion between a single point mount and a 2-point mount, but it is what it is. For $50, this mic is killer. I have nothing bad to say about it. There's the pop screen, man. That's bad. That's the only downside, is the handling noise. But if you have this thing in a room where you're fairly isolated, and your talent or yourself doesn't have to get too close to it to touch it, it does seem to need a higher gain than an average microphone compared to like a 58 or 57 or something. But it's great. I mean, it's very intelligible. There's nothing artificial sounding about it. If I get really close to it and I speak off axis, it's not bad. There's a little bit of maybe like to my ear, which I have tinnitus and considerable hearing damage. I would say somewhere around, I would probably like to boost this around 5 to 7K if I was using it on vocals, but that's just with my speaking voice. I'm not speaking as an authority. It's a pretty decent microphone for $54 tax in and free delivery. And then I'm going to go back to the SM7B here with my parting words, and we'll scoot this guy out of the way a little bit. You heard it. These are both dynamics. There's no artificial gain enhancements. There's no effects. There's no nothing. Maybe I could do another shootout, introduce I have a Beta 57. We could throw that in there, and I have a 58. But I mean, YouTube is full of this stuff. But of comparing like things to like things, comparing apples to apples, or oranges to oranges. This is comparing apples to oranges, or in another way, comparing like apples to helicopters. They're totally different. Most of the purists wouldn't even let the word Behringer roll off their lips, but I've got a few other pieces of gear I have for many, many years. If you know how to use your gear, you'll get the best results from it. If you just read what the purists say about you can't use Behringer, they're wrong. This B906 will serve you quite well. The SM7B for voiceover stuff will serve you even better. But if you're on a budget, this is a killer mic. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to hit the stop button, and I will bid you farewell until next time. Be well.